Can I call Congress to order, please? Morning, everybody. I hope you all had good evenings at your regional events last night. We will be starting this morning's business with a report from the Standing Orders Committee by way of SOC report number 5, followed by North East Yorkshire and Humber's regional successes video. I must also give you all a bit of a warning ahead of the video, as it does contain flashing lights. And then we'll also have our final awards of the week. Karen?
Karen Dudley, Standing Orders Committee Chair, moving SOC report number 5. Withdrawn motions. The SOC has been advised that the following motion from Wales and South West region has been withdrawn. That is Emergency Motion 1, urgent clarifications to protect trans women considering the Supreme Court narrow definition of a woman. Emergency motions. The SOC has agreed a further emergency motion, and this is Emergency Motion 7 from GMB Scotland, access to free period products at all GMB events. The time that this will be heard will be advised as soon as possible. President, Congress, I formally move adoption of SOC report number 5.
Thank you, Karen. Does anybody want to speak in opposition to that report? No, then can I put that to the vote, please? All those in favour of standing orders? Yep. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. Thank you, Karen. Just to let you know, there is a slight change in the order of business this morning, but it's all happening this morning, but it might be in a slightly different order. So if you just could listen out carefully, because things might have, your motion or rule amendment might have come in a different place. Congress, we will now move on to watching the North East Yorkshire and Humber regional video.
I've been stumbling on good hearts turned to stone. The road of good intentions is gone dry as a bone. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own. From Chicago to New Orleans, from the muscle to the bone. Shotgun shack to the Superdome. Ain't no help, the cavalry stayed home. There ain't no one here in the bugle blown. We take care of our own. We take care of our own. Wherever this flag's flown, we take care of our own.
Great video, North East Yorkshire and Humber. Great upbeat way to start the morning. Thank you. Congress, it's my great pleasure to announce the winner of the John McLean Award for the GMB Health and Safety Team of the Year for 2025. John was the former National Health and Safety Officer, and he remains much missed. This year's award is presented to the Best Food Logistics National Health and Safety Team for their outstanding efforts in changing the health and safety standards, not only in their employer, but also raising standards at the third-party sites that Best Food deliver to. We'll just watch a short video first.
I'm really passionate about health and safety. I believe that an employee should come into work and feel safe. The environment changes daily. We incorporate new machinery, we incorporate new workplace tools. We have to make sure that these tools are safe for our employees to do their day-to-day duties. And that's why I'm passionate about my role as a health and safety officer. We have full engagement as a health and safety committee with the management. Having that committee and having that collaboration with the management is key. So we work together to make sure that we mitigate any health and safety issues. Our staff and our members are also our safety activists. We give them the knowledge of what they should be looking for in aspects of health and safety, what is right and wrong, and they feed back to us. So really they are key, and to see them safe and have their input as a workforce, it means a lot to me. Recently we've introduced an adverse weather policy, and this incorporates all weather possibilities. So we are fully engaged with all warnings to protect our members. When you see the accident stats reduce, you see sickness levels reduce, that can only benefit the company, and it can only benefit the individual as well, to have a safe working environment. To avoid injury, we've put in a practice where we do not use any third-party equipment whatsoever. It's either safe to transit from our depot to the customer or at customer premises. If we are to use that equipment, we only decant into that equipment, but we do not physically move it. We have full visibility of that equipment, so we are engaged fully with our management. We work as a team together, and I believe having that team is key to workplace safety. With the GMB, they've helped me a lot, and they've helped all our members and reps. The courses which we go on, the skills which we learn, health and safety, equality, employment law. The GMB focus is on its members.
Congress, this is a textbook example of organising around a multi-site organisation, using committees and the power of safety representatives to make tangible gains. Organising in this sector is extremely difficult, so this is a substantial achievement worthy of recognition. I'd like to invite Mike Vera, Simon Wilde, Lyle Flynn and Paul McCartney to come and receive the award, please.
And then I want you all guys as well. Yeah, there we go. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. On the toe. I've been told I don't smile in any of these photos, Andrew. Thank you. Do you want Mummy just to go? Yeah, I think just together. You just jump there. Can I just say a few words?
Hi Congress, thanks very much. Honoured to receive the award. Just goes to show what we can do in the workplace, getting organised, getting a step ahead. Basically, I just want to thank the GMB with all the courses and the knowledge they've given us. It inspires you to take that to the company. However, regardless of the training and knowledge, it means nothing if you haven't got that spirit and fire in your belly to do that. So don't be afraid. Challenge everything. Yeah, keep your workplace safe. Thank you.
Well done again. Congress, we now move on to union organisation, union benefits and services. And just before I explain how that debate will work, can I just say that emergency motion 7 will be debated this morning towards the end of the session. So the mover and seconder of that emergency motion need to be ready. Congress, we will now be debating motions relating to finances and union benefits and services, and also the financial proposals and annual accounts, which will be moved by the General Secretary. I will explain how we'll take this debate, okay, because if you could listen carefully to this. So delegates will move and second motions 34, 35, Composite 2 and motion 41, with any opposing speakers. So if they're ready to come down to the front, that would be helpful. The General Secretary will then respond with the CEC positions, then move the financial proposals and annual accounts. Regions will have the opportunity to speak on the financial proposals, and as always, I'll just call them in a certain order. We will then take the vote on the financial proposals and annual accounts, and then the votes on the motions. So if I could have mover of motion 34, please, and the other movers and seconders of 35, Composite 2, and motion 41 down the front, please. On Composite 2, there are allowed, I think, 3 speakers. So it's North East Yorkshire and Humber, Southern to second, and then I think the third speaker may have been agreed between the regions, London and Midlands.
Good morning, Congress. President, Fazana Jummer from the North East Yorkshire and Humber region, speaking on motion 34 on increasing the overnight meal allowance from £20 to £25. Congress, an area that has not been reviewed for some time is the overnight allowance. Our lay members receive this when they are away from home, carrying out trade union activities. This allowance allows our lay members, activists and post holders to be reimbursed for an evening meal if one is not already provided when they are working away from home. The cost of living crisis has created an environment whereby our members are having to choose between paying an essential bill or buying food. For as long as I have known, there's not been a review on the overnight allowance that is received for this. And Congress, we should not be forced to eat junk food or heavily processed food just because that's all we can afford when we're away from home. We should have that choice. This impacts our health and well-being, and much later on in life as well. And when we're taking part in trade union activities, we shouldn't always be out of pocket, is the bottom line. And the rising the cost of living and the hospitality industry and what they're then adding costs and putting that onto us increases the pressures on us. We want to encourage more and more working people to engage in our processes and work with us in the trade union movement, and these costs are often a barrier. And it doesn't allow them to represent their sector or workplaces they're in. And without our lay representatives and post holders, we cannot function as a union. Congress, please support this motion. This helps us carry out these roles without worrying about being able to afford it. This affects our mental health and well-being whilst we're doing this. And Congress, it took 4 years to provide a 5p increase to mileage. And on that basis, it could take decades. We might not even be here and we could still be going through a review. And I just feel like we need to make this decision today. Congress, you are the supreme decision-making body of our union. So I'd like us to vote on this today. So Congress, I move.
Thank you, Fazana. Seconder.
Morning. Sarah Young, NEYH region second in motion 34, cost of living increasing the overnight meal allowance from £20 to £25. President, Congress, Gary. Proud to be an active campaigner, so here is my campaign for the day. It may only take 2 minutes to explain, but it will not only help everyone in this hall, but all ally activists. It's called Don't Be a Miser. Our Labour members work hard for our union voluntarily, but we're also skint. In this cost of living crisis, the cost of food makes you go dizzy at the till. Wage rises have deflated like my car tyre did the other week, with a great big nail in it, and I could have done with a fair few fivers after that. And energy companies are more greedy than a rich git dodging a tax bill. Joking aside, it is very common for people to live month to month, hoping their hard-earned wages last until the next payday. Those on a minimum wage really struggle to make ends meet, and it doesn't take much to reach the overdraft some months. When our lay members are away from home, carrying out trade union duties, if a meal isn't provided, then the meal allowance allows £20 to cover the cost of the meal. However, with the increase in food prices, our lay members often find themselves out of pocket due to the increasing costs of the hospitality industry. Congress, just think about what you've spent this week. In our hotel, a burger alone is 25 quid, and don't even get me started on the cost of a pint. I know we're a long way down south, but blooming heck. The allowance amount has not been reviewed for some time, so we ask that we keep up with the times and increase by just £5 in order for our hard-working lay members not to worry about being out of pocket in difficult times. No one should be put off or left out of pocket for carrying out GMB duties. So please, Gary, don't be a miser. I second.
Well done, Sarah. Well done. Thank you. Mover of motion 35, please.
All right, okay. Gosh, I have to go follow someone that had a way more exciting speech than me. Anyway, good morning, Congress. Good morning, President. I'm a first-time attendee of GMB and a first-time speaker at this conference. So please be gentle with me. I'm here to speak on motion 35. My name is Denise Scott-MacDonald, and I'm from Southern. And huge shout out for Sonia, who's from Southern, who won yesterday. Yay! Well done, Sonia. And Barbara, congratulations too. So, all right. I'm here to say the cost of living crisis is not over. Even though it's away from the headlines, even though it may not be mentioned in the newspaper, it is still very real today for so many of us. For over a decade, workers' pay has been held down, while prices have surged. Wages have stagnated, insecure work has grown. And now, in one of the wealthiest economies in the world, we are witnessing more working families slipping below the poverty line. Congress, It is nothing short of shameful that full-time workers, our members, are having to choose between heating their homes or feeding their children. That is the reality they face. And when these same members are called upon to serve our union, to attend our meetings, to represent their branches and contribute their experience and their wisdom, attending training courses, they should not be expected to lose financially. This motion is not about extravagance, it is about fairness. Subsistence allowance exists for a reason, to ensure no member is financially disadvantaged when fulfilling their union duties. But the truth is that current rates are simply no longer sufficient. Food, transport, overnight stay, everything costs and more. A sandwich which used to cost £5 today, a few years ago, now is a lot more. And yet subsistence rates have remained largely unchanged. Congress, this is not sustainable. We must ask ourselves, what message are we sending if we expect our members, many already struggling, to foot the bill for supporting their union? Our union is funded by its members. They pay their dues week in and week out. That money must not only be used for campaigning and negotiations, but to ensure that participation in union activities is accessible to all, not just those who can afford it. If we fail to act, we risk excluding voices of the very people we claim to represent. We risk turning union representation into a privilege for the few rather than the right for all. Congress, this motion asks that we put our values into practice. It is an opportunity to say clearly we value the time and sacrifice of our members. We recognise the pressure they face. We will not allow union participation to be a financial burden. Raising the subsistence allowance is not a luxury, it is a necessity. I strongly urge Congress to support this motion, ensure that no member is left behind simply because the price of a meal has become unaffordable. I move this motion.
Thank you, Denise. Well done. Seconder.
Seconding motion 35, President Congress. Janet Fruin, Southern Region and proud member of the National Care Committee. First-time delegate and first-time speaker. Extremely nervous, so please bear with me. Let's be honest, working people are struggling. Wages have stagnated, prices have soared, and today more people in work are living in poverty than ever before. Our members and our workplace representatives are most likely having to use food banks to support feeding their families, and yet when our members step up to represent our great service, this union, travelling, staying overnight, attending meetings, they are often left out of pocket. The subsistence allowance was meant to prevent that, but it hasn't kept up with the cost of living. Pop into a supermarket and the cost of a meal deal has doubled. Lunch in a cafe can cost an arm and a leg, and a sandwich and a drink that once cost a £5 now costs £10. A simple evening meal in most towns needs you to take out a bank loan, and in some establishments, if no longer affordable for many. Congress, our members who keep this union running, the very least we can do is ensure that no one is financially penalised for belonging to and supporting the union they help build. Raising the daily subsistence allowance isn't a bonus, it's a basic fairness. It means that all our members, no matter their income, can participate fully without financial worry. It keeps this union inclusive and it honours the commitment of our members. Please get behind this. Let's pass this motion and show we understand the realities of our people face. I second this motion. Thank you.
Well done, Janet. Well done. And then can I have mover of composite 2, please?
Morning, President Congress. Cav Damastani, proud member of the North East Yorkshire and Humber delegation. On behalf of Durham Local Authority Branch, first-time delegate, second-time speaker. Speaking regarding Composite 2 mental health support. Mental health support is something close to my heart. I've been a GMB rep for over 18 years within Durham County Council, Durham Local Authority, and I'm a team leader of a diverse and talented team. Throughout that time, I've supported members going through a whole range of difficult and sometimes dangerous situations. All too often, I've been the first line of support for people in incredibly vulnerable situations. I've been there for workers responding to workplace problems who have broken down, who have suffered psychotic episodes, and who have sadly lost all perspective and looked to take their own lives. But just as importantly, I've been through my own challenges. 2.5 years ago, I lost my wife to the cruelty of cancer. And while struggling to come to terms with my grief, I lost both my mum and dad within months of each other. My entire immediate family was lost to me in just 8 short months. I'm not ashamed to say that I needed to reach out for help that I was lucky to get from the NHS, my loving family, friends, and from colleagues in Durham GMB who have been nothing but outstanding. So I know how important it is that we are there to support our members when they are struggling themselves, but sometimes that can come at a price. Being there, being on the front line can affect our reps in a really significant way. For too many people, they are let down by a postcode lottery of NHS mental health support, and their local GMB rep ends up on the front line as a therapist or counsellor. I recently had a young member who was struggling with his mental health and felt that his life was no longer worth living. He felt comfortable opening up to me, and I helped point him in the direction of support and listen to his issues. I openly admit that I felt out of my depth in this situation, and I am fully aware that me saying the wrong thing could have had disastrous consequences. This is a heavy burden to put onto our reps and has a lasting impact on our mental health. We must take this challenge seriously. We must be there as a union for those who are supporting others. This motion is about recognising the amazing work that our activists are doing across the UK, supporting those suffering mental health problems, but just as importantly, it's about acknowledging how providing this support can impact upon our activists. We must do more to support those who are on the front line, supporting others, making sure that they have the support they need to stay fit and well themselves. I've learned a huge amount over the last few years, not only about myself, but about mental health and how it affects so many of us. I've taken it upon myself to talk about this subject because it's the right thing to do, and I hope that by speaking out, I can improve things for others as well. Congress, I urge you to support this motion and make sure that we do everything we can to support every single one of our activists. Thank you for listening. I move.
Thank you. Seconder.
Good morning, Congress. Once again, congratulations to Barbara and Sonia for yesterday. Huge well done. Congress, Marzena Zborowska-Haget, Southern Region, Merton Branch. I am proud to second Composite 2 because behind every successful case, every grievance upheld, every member protected, there is GMB rep. And that rep is often carrying a heavy emotional load. We represent members through some of the most traumatic and morally complex situations: safeguarding concerns, harassment, near misses, workplace deaths. And sometimes we are asked to argue for outcomes that conflict with our own values, because that's what representations demands. But who supports us? Reps do this on top of the full-time jobs, family responsibilities, and union admin. We are volunteers, dedicated, passionate, but not invincible. This motion is about building a real support structure for reps, one that doesn't leave us to break down in silence. We need a 24/7 helpline. We need access to professional counseling. We need resilience training, not just once, but regular. And we need peer networks, because sometimes the only people who understand what we go through are other reps. This composite brings together motions from across our regions, most of our regions, if not all. That tells you everything you need to know. This is a national issue, and we need national solution. So today, I ask you to back this composite, not just for the reps who are struggling now, but for the future of our activist base. Because if we want strong reps, we have to keep them well. Support this motion. Support each other. Thank you.
Well done, Marzena. Thank you. And a third delegate from whichever region has agreed to speak. Midlands.
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Congress. I'm Claire Semmons from the amazing Midlands branch. First time delegate, first time speaker. Every one of us in this hall knows how vital our union reps are. They stand with members in their darkest hours through disciplinaries, sickness reviews, restructures, bullying and more. They give everything to support others. As we all know, that support comes at a cost. Too many reps are running on empty. They're absorbing the stress, trauma and pressure day after day, case after case, with no outlet, no debrief and no structured support. And we wonder why some of them are burnt out and step back. We talk a lot about members' welfare, and rightly so, but we must now talk about rep welfare. Seconding this motion means backing the creation of a national support network across the GMB, because let's be clear, looking after reps is not a luxury, it's a necessity. If we want strong representation in workplaces, we want experienced reps to stay. If we want a union that truly cares, then this motion is part of the answer. Congress, we cannot continue to pour from an empty cup. Let's refill, let's rebuild it. Support this motion, support our reps, support our union. Thank you.
Well done, Claire. And mover of motion 41, please.
President, Congress, Jerry Mallon, raising to motion 41, proper wellbeing support for reps. Congress, I must start with clarity for the CEC. This motion is for appropriate wellbeing support for shop stewards, safety reps and full-time conveners, not for the full membership. This motion is important to me because of my personal experience. In 2017, with feeling stressed, emotionally drained, and with the work we do, I reached out for help from the union. With little or no help available, I had to step down from all union duties after 9 years as branch secretary convener for my own mental health well-being. Only returning in October 2022 after 5 years away, I would not have had to do this if there was appropriate wellbeing support available for me and others in a similar situation. Whilst researching for this motion, I realised I was not alone in feeling that way. Repeatedly, the biggest reason for shop stewards and safety reps giving up being active with the union was when reaching out for help, they didn't feel there was appropriate support from the union. Mental health in the workplace is high on every trade union's agenda, but why not for shop stewards? This is not good enough. Congress notes that the work we do day in, day out for this union can be detrimental to reps own health well-being due to being stressful, sometimes lonely and emotionally draining, which can lead reps to abusing and becoming dependent on alcohol and or drugs as a coping mechanism. One way, as a union, we can help with this is by training more branch officers, full-time conveners as mental health first aiders, to help support and signpost shop stewards and safety reps to help them they need the access to mental health and addiction professionals when needed. This would allow reps to reach out and know that they will be listened to and will be supported, and that there are mechanisms or processes in place with GMB for reps to reach out to the union for support they need, and for those issues for the GMB to deliver appropriate support when requested for reps, with better support for members. Now, we all talk about the GMB Union as a family. That being the case, Madam President, top table, that must make you the parents. Your children are asking for help. Please listen and help us all. Congress, please support this motion for you, me, and all that follow us, who work hard for this union day in, day out. Thank you, Congress.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. That's not an image I'd thought of before, but I take the point. It's a fair point.
President Congress, Annette Riley, GMB Scotland, second in motion 41, wellbeing support for reps. Congress, 4 years ago, I and a small number of my GMB Scotland colleagues undertook mental health first aider training, and most have subsequently renewed it earlier this year. This has been most useful to me to enable me to help and support members through difficult situations that they are experiencing at that time. It has also helped me put things into perspective when I myself went through a traumatic experience in my personal life and knew exactly where to get help during this crisis. Only shop stewards have the insight into what another shop steward may be experiencing, and delivering that help and support for members who, not all, can be deemed as challenging, demanding and demoralising to that shop steward. What we need is a network of shop stewards, conveners and branch secretaries who are well trained and willing to help those reps who are struggling. Someone to talk to who is very familiar with what is being experienced by that rep. Some may have access to wellbeing support through their employer. Most won't have access, particularly in the private sector. Please support this motion and give our valuable shop stewards the support they need and deserve. Please second.
Thank you, Annette. Does any delegate wish to speak in opposition to those motions? No, then I'll ask Gary Smith to... Oh, sorry.
Kim Hendry, London Region, speaking just in a personal capacity. First of all, I want to emphasise I'm not speaking in official opposition. This is about raising a concern, and that's all I wish to do. So it's on Composite 2, and it's specifically, which I support, and it's specifically about a caution about one paragraph in it, and which has also been mentioned in other motions, which is about mental health first aid. And I want to ask people just to raise some concerns that are out there in the wider movement, including in my day job. I work for another trade union, and I was head of learning for a long time, and we didn't get involved in it because we had concerns. So I completely recognise the strength of feeling, and I support that strength of feeling. So I support the wider support networks. But I just want to draw delegates' attention to some of the concerns that have been raised in the union movement about mental health first aid very quickly. So the TUC, for example, I'm just looking at a report now, published some concerns about mental health first aid, and including in Hazards magazine, expressing concern there was no evidence that the mental health first aid training actually had any impact in supporting individuals, notwithstanding I heard the points being said, who are experiencing mental health problems in the workplace. There's also concerns, there's consistent evidence that mental health first aid training raises employees' awareness of mental ill health conditions, but its conclusion is there's no evidence that the introduction of the training has resulted in sustained actions in those trained. The other final point I wanted to raise is, because I've looked into this and looked at the agendas in the training, it also talks about diagnosis and recognising what they call conditions and mental health conditions. And that's, I think, problematic. I think that's us overstepping the mark, particularly because there's lots of a rising movement in this country about challenging some of that kind of medicalisation of disorder and distress. So that's really just the point I wanted to make. I support everything in this motion, but just to flag up some concerns that exist in the wider movement about mental health first aid. Thank you.
No, Kim, thank you. It's not a true opposing. No, that's fine. You're fine. I'm not taking the right of reply because it's not actually a true opposing the motion. It was just very helpful information. So, I'll now move on then to the speaker, the CC speaker, Gary Smith.
Thank you, President. Gary Smith, General Secretary and Treasurer, speaking on behalf of the CEC, responding to motions 34, 35, 41 and Composite 2. On motion 41 and Composite 2, the CEC is asking the regions agree to refer back so that we can undertake a proper review on how we can best support our dedicated activists. I thought that debate was enormously powerful, and I mean this, colleagues, I hear you, we all hear you. For the bottom of my heart, I've never forgot where I came from in this union. The backbone of the union is the shop stewards, the safety reps, people in the workplace who are at the point of crisis with members, often every day. We did commit, apparently, to doing something around this before COVID, and then COVID hit, and it's no excuse. We need to get on with it. We have to do something. Kim, I thought the points were very well made, and thank you for that. We've provisionally looked at some of this, and it's not that simple or straightforward. We've looked at the experience of other unions, started to look at some of the models that other unions do, and working with charities, try to put systems in place. It's not simple and it's not easy, but I'm absolutely with colleagues. We have to do something to better support our reps. And when I was up at the Regional Council in North East Yorkshire and Humber, I heard that debate and I heard it loud and clear. So it's not quick. There's not a quick fix. We want to do something meaningful. We've got a lot of experience we can tap into already. You know, I know we've got mental health first aiders in British Gas. You know, to Kim's point, is that working? Is it useful for us? I don't know. But let's talk about that experience. You go to Hinkley Point, the big nuclear site, you see our shop stewards and safety reps walking around with our mental health first aider sticker on the helmets. We've got members who are working away from home for protracted periods of time. It's really tough, and they've got a great point of support on the sites. We should tap into that experience. So we're committed to doing something. I promise you, not easy, but I promise you we're going to move that forward and we're going to have meaningful engagement. But please give us the opportunity to do that properly. Never lost on me the job that you do. And dealing with members at a point of crisis and being caught often between members and management, hugely stressful job, and we need to support the people who are the backbone of the union. On motion 35, Denise, Janet, again, hear you loud and clear. We're going to move that forward, and we want to move that forward quickly. But please agree to refer that. We will seek to address that. Look, I'm the best paid person in this room, I would suspect, maybe apart from Matt for Hinkley, but you know, I am just staggered with the cost of coming to events like this now. You know, I'm going for a drink or something to eat. We do not want low-paid workers to be put off getting involved in the democracy of the Congress. Please refer it, and I promise you we will look at that. In terms of motion 34, bit different. Dear oh dear, eh? If the naughty troublemakers from North East Yorkshire and Humber don't withdraw or don't refer it, the CC is asking you to vote against this reckless motion. We can, poor Alison has been awake since Friday worrying about this motion and where we're going to get the fiver from. Her and Michael have been hitting the drink. You're asked to refer the motion. I suspect that you're not going to, but I've got a duty today. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Gary. You stay at the rostrum, don't move. So we'll now take the financial proposals and annual accounts, and that's Gary to speak.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get the feeling you're going to lose a vote. You know? Okay. Gary Smith, GMB General Secretary and Treasurer, very, very proud to be moving the financial statements for the year end 31st of December 2024. Now, there's been no questions have been submitted on the financial statement, so I will move their adoption. On behalf of the CEC, it also falls to me to move rule amendments contained within the CEC Special Report on the financial proposals. These are CEC Rule Amendments 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29 and 30. And colleagues, just to confirm about CEC Rule Amendment 26, good challenge. Look, for retired line members who historically paid a one-off fee, we're not looking for them to make any additional contributions. Finance team will work that through, but we have to be fair and reasonable about this. So we're not looking to take more money off people who made that one-off fee historically. I want to thank Alison and Michael, her deputy, Michael Moran, Alison Turtle and Michael Moran, our head and deputy head of finance. It's a new team that we put together in finance in the last couple of years. You voted to change the auditors 2 years ago. It's been a huge programme of work going on with the finance team, and they have just been fantastic and so diligent. And thank you so much for holding the fringe meeting on the finances on Sunday as well, where you dealt with a lot of the questions on the statement. The Union has enjoyed another year of high activity. Lots going on, as you're hearing this week. We are, there's just so much energy going on in the Union, and we're achieving so much together, and it's fantastic. And the changes that you have supported in the past period are making all that activity and all that support for members possible. We're back, as I said in my speech yesterday, in workplaces, listening to members, building industrial campaigns and growing the Union, and that is what is delivering a better, stronger GMB, and with it stronger finances for the Union as well. It's pretty staggering to think that in 2024, an average of 7,500 people join GMB every month. And that led to our Grade 1 membership growing by 4,000 new members, and Grade 2 growing by over 5,000 new members. That's a fantastic result. It builds on 2023, and much of that is down to you in this hall, your hard work, and the teams of people in the regions and at national, across the National Union. It's fantastic. There's a clear pattern of success that we're building. We're getting consistent results, and that is extraordinary. I mentioned this in my speech yesterday as well. On Sunday. We're also very focused on retention and retrieval. It's not just about organising new members, but it's also about keeping people in the Union. That's about communicating with members, that's about providing great support when members need it, and it's also about retrieving members and getting them back into financial membership when they slip out of, when they stop paying their subs. And that has been piloted in London, and it has been rolled out across the Union, and it has been hugely successful. And the money in the Union, the finances of the Union, are actually pretty simple. Members' contributions account for about 96% of the Union's income, and our income grew by £1.5 million last year. And that tells us We're growing the membership, we're building stronger finances, we're on the right path. And at the same time, and I commend the work of the team at National Office, the finance team, and in the regions, the regional secretaries, we've also put better controls in place around how we manage the money in the union. And so despite all the activity which we've got at finance, despite all the energy that's going on in the union, and campaigning does cost us money, we posted a healthy surplus of £414,000 last year, so thank you for that. And that surplus comes at a time when we balloted 24,000 members in 270 industrial action ballots last year. I mean, that's phenomenal. And we spent 4.3 million supporting our members in struggle. And I should acknowledge within that the role of branches, because your branches contributed about 1.4 million to regional strike funds, that money going back to support members on the front line, on picket lines, and you know, thank you so much for that. What the rules also tried to do, and I gave you a commitment when I stood as General Secretary, I got very frustrated when I was the Scottish Secretary watching so much focus getting put into party politics in Westminster. What I said we needed to do is build a genuinely federal union with rights and responsibilities for the regions and nations of the union. And what we never want to have is over-control, too much control or dictatorship at the centre of the union. That's not the way GMB operates. There needs to be checks and balances on power. And with the financial proposals, what we're trying to do is ensure there's greater resources in regions. That's about checks and balances, but it's also about making sure that we've got money and resources closer to where the action happens. And the action happens in our regions and nations invariably. In terms of equal pay, you've heard about the fantastic stuff that we are doing. I am absolutely delighted with the work that we are doing. It was a red line issue with us, with Labour going through the policy process about having an enforcement body on equal pay. We're building campaigns on equal pay across the country, and it does cost money. We've spent about £750,000 prosecuting those equal pay campaigns, but that will be paid back in spades, because we are talking about hundreds of millions of pounds getting returned to working class women. And with the systems we've now put in place, thank you. And with the systems that we've put in place for equal pay, we understand how this works, and if you get it wrong, it can be hugely expensive. The cheap way to run equal pay is build campaigns, build industrial action, build protests. But of course there'll be legal bills. We've reduced the cost of running equal pay claims by about 95%. Have a look at the systems that we've got in place. Speak to the Women's Campaign Unit team. We're fighting more battles, and we're doing it in a more cost-effective way. In Union Line, there's been a huge amount of work going on, thanks to the regional secretaries, all the team who've been involved with the work around Union Line. We're starting to get that on a stronger foot, and we've had to pay money to sort out historical underfunding for our union, but we're in a decent place, I think, with Union Line going forward, and I'm delighted. We've got Manjeet, I don't know if she's in the hall. She's right at the back. Manjeet who's just joined us. Manjeet will be doing a job share in legal, and will be really focusing on getting the Union Line business working more effectively and supporting you as the membership. In terms of our investments, we made changes a few years ago about pooling our investments, and it's paid off. Our investments are about £62 million. We've got about 62 million in investments. That's pretty phenomenal. And that's a growth of about £24 million for the original monies that we started with. And in terms of our cash reserves, we've got about £21 million in cash reserves, 8.3 million or so, which is held within your branches. It's a fantastic news story. The union at the end of 2024 is worth about £116 million. That's down to the changes that you've supported in the union. It's about good leadership and effective management for the teams across the union as well, and well done to everybody for that. I have to declare an interest in this one, the staff pension. Look, our people work hard. You know, you work cheek by jowl with the staffs and organisers across the union. I think our people do an often tough job. They're incredibly hard-working and committed to this movement. I want them to be paid well, and I want people to retire well too. But the pension scheme, you have had to step in as lay members. We had a big deficit in the pension scheme, and you as lay members for a number of years stepped in and helped us sort out the deficit in the scheme. For the bottom of my heart, and I know I speak for all the staff, thank you so much for your commitment. Thank you for the support. The scheme is now in really rude health. We'll be about 128% funded. We're going into evaluation, and really that is down to your commitment to us. So thank you. Now, we have reduced some of the contributions going into the scheme because we're paying this big buffer, as I put it. That means we can put money back into your pockets. That's only fair. But we've also, for the first time in a generation, been able to improve some of the benefits in the scheme for our staff. And again, thank you for everything you've done in that regard. When I stood for election, I was very conscious about what we've been doing with the subs. We just, fall in financial membership, ratchet up the subs every year, 5p, 10p. We stopped doing that. And I'm always very conscious about membership, trying to ensure that membership is affordable. We did free subs for a number of years, and that put £11 million back into the pockets of lay members. And that was very important to us as a leadership of the union. It was a signal of our intent. We were going to run this union better, and that we hear and understand the challenges that our members face, because the leadership in this union across the piece spends more time now in workplaces listening to members than at any time I can remember in the union's history. And in real terms, what that means is our subs are below the levels they were in 2020. And I promise you, as best we can, despite all the cost pressures on the union, we're going to try and keep an eye on affordability. We are making the progress across the union. We are running it more efficiently. We are doing more with less. That is the truth of the matter. And we did wrestle with us coming into Congress what we would do about the subs this year. The performance this year has been phenomenal. Membership growing, the income's in a really strong place, but we are genuinely worried about an economic slowdown starting to bite. We're seeing factory closures coming. We're seeing the impact of the Trump tariffs, and we think it is prudent and right that we do ask for a small financial contribution increase this year, and so that we do have the reserves there if we run into stickier times, if we do run into those headwinds. So we are asking for a 7p a week on grade 1 increase, which is about 2%, and for grade 2 members, a 2p a week increase, which is about a 1% increase. We've not got to that position lightly, we really haven't, but we think it's the right thing to do. And again, I think it's worth impressing on you in terms of the decisions you've made, the phrasing of subs over the past few years. Our subs are 17% less than in real terms than they were in 2020. So money for a union is important. It's a foundation stone on which we build the organisation. We've done so much together to get the GMB into a strong place, a place where we're campaigning and fighting day in, day out. Please support the recommendations, please support the CEC, and please adopt the financial statements. And above all, thank you so much for the hard work that you're doing. You're building a far better and stronger GMB. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gary. Could I have the delegates from each of the regions and nations down the front then? Wales and South West first to speak. And then Southern, then GMB Scotland, and North West and Irish region, North East Yorkshire and Humber, Midlands and London.
President, Congress, Andy Mills, Wales and South West Region. Congress, let's be honest, none of us came into this movement because it was easy. We came because we believe in fairness, in justice, and in the power of standing together. And right now, we are being tested by the rising costs, by economic uncertainty, and by the ever-present threat to jobs and communities that we hold dear. Our region knows this struggles all too well. We've already seen the impact of factory closures like Ford in Bridgend, the uncertainty in our ports of Bristol and Plymouth, and the daily pressures on our NHS workers, our council staff, and carers from Carmarthen to Stroud. Our members are the backbone of this union and this country. They deserve a union that is strong, resilient, and ready for whatever comes next. The CEC statement is not just a set of numbers on a page. It's a roadmap to keep our union fighting fit. Yes, it asks for a small increase, just 7p a week for grade 1, 2p for grade 2. That's less than the price of a cup of tea. But what does it buy us? It buys us security. It buys us the ability to keep defending jobs, winning the pay rises, and supporting members through the very tough times ahead. I know some will say every penny counts, and they are right. That's why these proposals are a below inflation increase, keeping membership affordable, making sure that every pound is spent wisely. Our union is not here to build up bank balances. We're here to build up people, defend livelihoods, and to make sure that our members call, we answer. I'm especially proud of the proposals to strengthen our regional funds. In our region, we know that one-size-fits-all solutions don't work. Our communities are unique. Our challenges are unique, and our union needs that flexibility to respond. Dedicated funds mean we can initiate, support disputes, invest in campaigns that matter to our members without risking the core services that keep us strong. And let's not forget our retired members. They built this union. A small weekly fee keeps them connected, keeps our numbers honest, and ensures that those who want to stay active in the movement can do so with pride. Colleagues, this is not about money, it's about our values. It's about making sure that a care worker in Cardiff faces bullying, or a refuse worker in Exeter faces redundancy, or a hospital cleaner in Swansea needs legal help. GMB is there, solid, united, and fighting for every member. We are not just managing a budget, we are safeguarding the future of our movement. We are making sure that our children and grandchildren inherit a union that is every bit as bold, compassionate and determined as the one we inherited. Please support this statement. Thank you.
Southern.
Madam President, General Secretary, Congress, good morning. Zephrine Bennett, Jersey Branch, Great Southern Region. And congratulations to our re-elected President and newly elected Vice President. Congress, the Southern Region, has now considered the CEC's financial proposal to Congress. We would like to approve the CEC's proposal and have grouped our reasoning into categories: membership fees, retired members, regional funds, and audits, including regional audits. Congress, the first category is on Rule 45, Clauses 1 and 2 on membership fees. Our region would like to acknowledge and thank the CEC for their hard work in delivering an operational surplus, and GMB Workplace Organisers for increasing grades 1 and 2 membership by 9,000 this year. Well done. However, we recognise the increasing cost pressures our union is facing. GMB incurred a cost increase of 2% between 2023 and 2024 and needs to consider the current inflation rate. Therefore, we appreciate the CEC's efforts in keeping our membership rate affordable by capping the increase at 2%. Our hope is that GMB will continue providing a high level of service to our members, which we are confident the CEC and our union will be able to do. Congress, the second category, is on Rule 47A, retired members. The Southern region also recognises the need to confirm whether retired members would still like to remain as GMB members. This is in line with the CEC's proposal to introduce the 25p weekly subs. Congress, the third category, is on Rule 28, regional funds, where we noted a change being introduced with the creation of separate regional funds. There is now a clause for each region to create their own annual budget, subject to CEC's approvals. Meanwhile, the clause for the regions paying 50% of their income to the central fund has now been removed, similar to another clause of paying 50% of their bank balance each quarter. This change means regions will have more autonomy in realising GMB's aims and objectives, which might be limited by the current budgetary process. We agree to this because of the greater autonomy for regions which this change will grant. Furthermore, there are safeguards in place with the funds coming from alternative income sources, not from our member contributions. We believe such safeguards are necessary in ensuring member contributions are available for use to further members' clauses. Last but not least, another change relates to audits, including regional audits. We welcome the inclusion of an existing clause highlighting the need for regions to grant regional member auditors access to their accounts and supporting documents. We believe such a move will increase transparency by putting an onus on regions to work hand in hand with auditors.
Safrina, can you wind up, please? Yeah. Sorry.
In conclusion, Congress, we support the changes which will increase accountability, transparency and autonomy, and investing into our union while keeping in mind affordability and financial sustainability. Congress, we support.
Thank you. GMB Scotland.
President, Congress, I'm Elsie Snedden from GMB Scotland. I'm a first-time delegate and a first-time speaker. And I'm speaking in support of the CE Statement on Financial Proposals. Congress, as the report outlines, our union is going from strength to strength. An increase in membership is no easy feat, least of all as the cost of living crisis still dampens living standards and the world enters a period of instability, but is a reflection on the hard-working members, reps and staff, and more importantly, the fact that GMB is the campaigning union. We are the union who not just listen to our members, we are the union that takes action to make work better. But we are not immune from the effects of inflation. Campaigning costs money. It pays for leaflets, placards, offices, equipment, officers and support staff. If we want to continue being on the front foot against rogue employers, fighting for higher pay, better terms and conditions, then we need the finances to match. It can be a difficult decision to increase fees, but it's a necessary one to ensure our union is in the best possible position. We are the union of workers on the shop floor, not the executive in the boardroom. Any increase to membership fees must be mindful of and reflect that. Even with these proposals, GMB will still be the union with the lowest membership fees, so we are still affordable to the lowest paid. However, whilst there is a need for increased membership fees, GMB Scotland is concerned that there is a widening gap between full-time and part-time rates. We would ask that the CEC is mindful of these concerns in any future proposals to increase fees and ensure they are fair. This is also true of retired members. A small but affordable fee will ensure that only those who make the conscious and active choice to be a retired member become a retired member and can access the associated benefits that come with it. This will ensure the activities of the RMA are sustainable now and into the future. The proposals before us are both reasonable and manageable, and will assure our union as a whole and our regions and nations remain strong and our finances sustainable. Congress support the statement.
Well done, Elsie. Thank you. Delegate from North Western Irish region.
Paul Richards, North Western Irish region, speaking in support of the CEC financial proposals. President's Congress, whilst it's a difficult decision to increase contributions for our GMB members who face rising costs in every aspect of their lives, an increase of 7p and 2p per week is an increase below inflation. We discussed and debated the proposals as a region, and we agreed that these increases are necessary. We need to ensure our union has the right level of funding that ensures we continue to deliver high-quality support and service for our members. We also debated the introduction of a subscription for the retired life members. For many, they have been proud to be GMB members throughout their working lives, and in retirement want to keep their membership alive. Introducing a small charge of 25p per week will enable us to keep the records up to date and ensure retired members are able to keep an active interest in their union. Congress, I urge you to support.
Thank you, Paul. North East Yorkshire and Humber.
Congress, President, the General Secretary, and Alison. Fazana Juma from the naughty, troublesome North East Yorkshire and Humber region. Congress, we are supportive of the report. It's really great to see the investment we are making as a union into equal pay. We have 5,000 claims in our region across 7 campaigns. Our union has done more than any other union. We are literally leading the way. We are incredibly proud of our core values, and we support the fair changes for retired members. This shows how our union does listen to us, and we can make changes whilst we are here. So I support the report from the General Secretary, and only that in this case. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosanna. Midlands.
I've lost the page. President Congress, Ian Burkett, Midland Region, speaking on the TET financial proposals. Gary, they wouldn't let me into Eastbourne, so I had to come here instead. Whilst I'm at the rostrum, can I have a little moan? Because I don't want to disappoint Gary. Look, the CE special reports to Congress are very important documents, and they need to be produced so that we can read, absorb and debate. So to do this, they need to be issued in a timely manner. They need to be available for our pre-Congress delegate meetings in April at the latest, not the week before the Congress. So, moan over. Midland regions are supporting the CE financial proposals as outlined in the papers. It is important that the unions has the financial ability to deliver and fight the causes that this Congress most demands of us. The reintroduction of a requirement to pay a small contribution is regrettable for pensioners. No one who was here at the time will ever forget Billy Hughes' passionate speech. But it wasn't necessary to manage and keep track of all retired members and maintain an active register of them. So in summary, we believe the proposals are the right thing to do to ensure that we can deliver and we support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you. And London region.
Morning, colleagues, President, General Secretary Gary. And at the end of this speech, I will learn whether I am being exported to to Eastbourne, as have already been threatened. Colleagues, the changes to the funding arrangements of the Union and its regions are long overdue. 5 years ago, we changed the formula and allocations of funds made between the regions and National Office, so we welcome the rule book being updated. Regions have moved surplus money from regional accounts to the Trade Union Investment Fund, which is managed through the TUFM. These investments, colleagues, have provided healthy returns for members' money in the last few years. Regional committees are provided with quarterly performances, and each region owns their own investments and can also access the money whenever it is necessary. With these changes, regions will now be able to set up dedicated legal and dispute funds held in regional accounts, giving regions more responsibility and autonomy to generate the build these funds themselves. We understand that increasing contributions is never popular with our members, but the Union is also impacted by the rise in economic cost. So we support the minimum increases of 7p and 2p. Congress, lastly, on the 25p week proposal for retired members' contributions. Colleagues, I still disagree on any forms of contributions to our retired members, and I hear a lot of you holding your breath. So before you breathe out, hold on. The General Secretary is aware introducing charges for retired members will not go down well. But we have many retired members in our region who are not engaged with the Union. Sadly, the only time we hear from them is when they contact us about funeral benefit. So having a financial transaction between retired members, as proposed, would ensure we keep in touch with our members. And that £1 a month would go towards paying for the funeral benefit. But colleagues, I would ask, if this is to go through, that this is guaranteed that this is what it will be used for. In coming to these proposals for retired members, the RMA would have appreciated having been consulted on draft proposals as promised when Gary was elected. It appears we need some communication training, and I say that after saying to you, Gary, lessons need to be learned at our meeting we held in January.
Jan, I'm going to have to ask you to come to the...
I'm now coming to the end.
Thank you.
I would like some reassurance from the General Secretary that our retired members are considered for more engagement relating to issues that affect us, especially now Congress has voted that we have a voice. Hence, colleague, you can now breathe out, because reluctantly I support the 25p increase. As if you can't beat them, join them. Our retired members have a wealth of experience, a lifetime in trade union movement, and I would like that to be recognised and not forgotten or sidestepped in the future. I move.
Well done. Well done, Jan. Thank you. I can now put that CEC Special Report on Financial Proposals and Annual Accounts to the vote. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. I will be going back to the motions you heard previously before that, but I will ask for movers and seconders of motion 162, 163, 164 and 171 to come down the front to be ready. Okay, I'm going to have to ask this, and I might know the answer before I ask it. Does North East Yorkshire and Humber agree to refer motion 34? No. Does Southern agree to refer motion 35? That's not very loud. Not as loud as North East Yorkshire and Humber. Is it yes or no? Thank you. Okay. Do the regions agree to refer Composite 2? That was North East Yorkshire, Humber, Southern and Midlands. But North East Yorkshire? Yes. Thank you very much. And does GMB Scotland agree to refer motion 41? Thank you. So the only one I need to take a vote on is the motion 34. Can I just remind you that you are voting on the motion? The CEC stance is to oppose, but you are voting on the motion. So all those in favour of motion 34, please show. All those against? That's carried. But he's still laughing, look. I'm crying. Oh, he's crying. He's all right. He's got 2 double... You've bribed him, haven't you, sweets? Okay, we move on to Industrial and Economic Policy, public section. So can I have the mover of motion 162, please?
(162) to the rostrum, please.
I'm here. I was very tempted to sing hello. Is it me you're looking for then? I actually was promised a chair, so when my emergency motion comes up, can you make sure that the reasonable adjustment is available? This is a short speech, so... President Congress, Jonathan Cole's London region moving 162 on sufficient capital investment in public services. We're all aware of the strain on our public services. Years of underfunding has led to staff shortages, poor morale and ever-worsening service. Staff in public services, some who are in the hall, are doing fantastic work despite the lack of funding. We see the lack of funding in our staff and the underfunding of our pay awards and national insurance and pension contributions. This has had an impact on services and money has to be funded. And we know, of course, these pay awards have been effectively pay cuts over the years. Capital funding, especially in our public services, has not kept pace with the developments in technology and infrastructure needed. In the motion, we particularly mentioned the NHS, fire services, education, and the general infrastructure that we need. Of course, the lack of sufficient capital funding affects all areas of public services. Funding now could save a lot of money in the future and save lives. Workers deserve to have the right tools and equipment, and so does everyone who uses our public services. It is vital to ensure that our public services are funded properly and recognises that there does need to be some planning ahead and some research done. It is vital that we know the level of funding required so that expectations are clear and the funding can be secured. And on that note, we'll wait to hear the spending review announcements in a few hours' time. The motion calls for lobbying of the Labour Party to a commitment for long-term capital investments. And again, we may see some of that later. This is vital as the current government is to ensure the commitment to public services. And we understand fully the qualification with this motion and trust that our MPs will be made aware of our policy, including hopefully this one. There's a long list. Should you agree, of course you will. On that note, I beg you to show your support and I move this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Second,
President Congress, Brendan Duffield, London Region, moving motion 162, enough money for public services. Our public services are struggling and we all see it. You can wait months for a doctor's appointment, your child's school might have leaking roofs and your old computers. Your local libraries might have shut, or it might not have up-to-date books. This isn't about policy, it's about the people who serve us every day. Nurses work extra shifts because there aren't enough staff. Teachers buying supplies with their own money. Police officers using outdated systems that waste valuable time. For years we have asked our public services work should do more with less, which we all know that is true. That's not fair and it's not working. We need proper investment, not just enough money to get by, but enough money to build the future. We need modern hospitals with the latest technology, schools with the tools our children deserve, emergency services we can respond quickly when we need them. This is investment will save money in the long run. It will save lives and it will give our hard-working public services workers that respect they earn. The motion before you today calls for real ongoing investment in our public services, because when they invest in public services, we invest in ourselves. We invest in our communities, we invest in our future. I urge you to support this motion. I move.
Thank you, Brendan. Mover 163.
Thank you. Mahinda Kataria, London Region, first-time delegate, third-time speaker. Proud to move this motion 163 on the inequality of holiday prices for school staff. Congress, do you have young children? Do you know anyone who has young children? I have 3 children, but they're all grown-ups now, and things were different then and flexible. Let me begin with this. Our school support staff are the unsung heroes of the education system. They are teaching assistants, administrators, lunchtime supervisors, caretakers, and many others, the backbone of our school. Yet they remain some of the lowest paid workers on the public sector, working under term time only contracts, which affect not just their take-home pay, but their pensions and long-term financial security too. Now let's add insult to injury. Because they are tied on term time contracts, they must take holidays during peak school breaks. That's when prices soar. Not slightly, but in some cases double or even more. When the prices soar, not slightly, but I'm repeating myself. Yes, the price difference is extreme and the impact is real. For the support staff with children of their own, this becomes a punishment for simply wanting a family break. Going during term time and face school fines. If you go during holidays, you also face financial strain. Either way, our members lose. Congress, this is not just a matter of economics, it's a matter of fairness. We ask, how can we talk about valuing education if we continue to undervalue those who support it daily? We know that the holiday pricing is influenced by the market forces, but it is also influenced by regulation, or the lack of it. Airlines, travel companies, and hotel chains make enormous profits off the backs of families locked into fixed school contracts. And those worst hit are low-paid workers, including the very people educating and nurturing our children. That's why this motion calls on GMB to campaign alongside the Labour government to explore fairer practices in the travel industry and to advocate for policies that ease this burden, whether that's through pricing regulations, subsidies, or creative solutions that make holidays more affordable for working families tied to school timetables. Congress, we are also mindful of CEC's request to refer this motion, but we understand the need for proper consultation across sectors, including aviation. Before launching a campaign, we agree we are not asking for rushed action, but for serious joined-up consideration. So we accept the referral on the condition that it leads to real engagement, real analysis, and a real commitment to tackling this problem for our members. Support staff shouldn't have to choose between test and rent. They shouldn't be priced out of precious time with their families and just because of the nature of their contracts. Let's take this motion forward with care, with unity across sectors, and with determination to stand up for some of the most undervalued workers in our society. Congress, I move. Thank you.
Well done, Mahinda. Seconder.
President, Congress. Lisa Lavelle, London Region, proud to second this important motion of inequality holiday prices for school support staff. Congress, let's speak plainly. Our school support staff are overworked, underpaid, and tied to term time contracts that limit when they can go on holidays. Then when they do try to take a break with their families, they are hit with sky-high travel prices, while private companies profit from their lack of choice. These are workers who hold our schools together, yet they are financially punished for doing so. And so if they try to book a cheaper break during term time, their children are fined for being absent from school. It's a trap, and it's unfair. We fully acknowledge the CEC's comments. We also accept the referral, but we do so with a strong anticipation that this issue will be looked at seriously across the sectors, including aviation. Because fairness for working families should not come at the cost of someone else's job. But something must change. Let's take this issue forward, find a solution that honours the people who support our children every day. I second.
Well done, Lisa. Thank you. Mover of motion 164, please.
President, Congress, Shaista Nazir, London Region, moving motion 164. GMB is proud to be a recognised union for London sports staff. Many of you here today work in a school and support our members in schools every day. GMB has been instrumental in the re-establishment of the school sports staff negotiating body and is working to address the issues that matter most to our members, such as ending term time only contracts and recognizing the impact of the increasing numbers of pupils with SEN, as well as the negotiating around pay. In recent times, the NEU has been actively recruiting school sports staff despite a 2017 agreement not to. The TUC has fined the NEU for this, but nonetheless, NEU recruitments and organising has continued and even increased in some areas. NEU's General Secretary recently publicly stated that NEU would continue to recruit sports staff and said, "We have doubled our sports staff membership since the formation of the NEU. I want to double it again and then double that and again double that." Congress, This blatant disregard of the TUC brokered agreement to only recruit teachers and lack of respect for the recognised union cannot be ignored. Many of the sports staff they are recruiting are unaware that NEU is a teachers' union and cannot negotiate and bargain on their behalf, and feel they have been misled when they'll find out. The TUC must take the actions and words of NEU seriously and ensure the integrity of agreements are upheld. The TUC cannot stand by and allow the NEU to act in this way. And if it does not deal with the NEU effectively, then we must consider review our financial affiliation to the TUC, as it may not be acting in the best interest of our members to maintain it. Congress, I move.
Well done, Delegate. Thank you. And second of motion 164, please.
President, Congress, I'm here to support motion 164. School support staff, oh, my name is Fumi, by the way. I'm still first-time delegate, second-time speaker. School support staff are the backbone of our schools, doing valuable work with some of our most vulnerable children. GMB is made up of tens of thousands of support staff up and down the country, and GMB is the voice of the issues that matter to them. Every day, we're campaigning for their skills and profession to be valued and recognized, for their workplaces to be respectful and safe. Importantly, GMB negotiates their pay and terms and conditions and has played an important role in the re-establishment of the school support staff negotiating body. Our members in schools deserve their voice to be heard and for their issues to be paramount. When we go into schools, we are finding out that NEU has recruited support staff despite not being recognized to negotiate and bargain for them, and despite the TUC agreement not to. NEU's actions are not acceptable. They show a lack of regard for support staff who they cannot properly represent, and for the trade union solidarity. The trade union must ensure the agreements signed are respected and that unions conduct themselves properly. The NEU was fined in excess of £100,000 for breaching the agreement just a couple of years ago. That was its members' money. The fine was clearly not enough to stop the NEU recruiting and attempting to organize support staff. So now the TUC must take proper and decisive action. If not, GMB should not consider whether affiliation to it it's in our members' best interest. Congress, I second.
Well done. And mover of motion 171, please.
Good morning, President, Congress. Hayley Doyle, lead school support staff, branch member of the NEYH region, first-time delegate, first-time speaker. I'm moving motion 171, recognising and valuing early years support staff. Congress. When I joined EYFS 11 years ago, I joined because I felt I could make a difference and wanted to give something back. However, over the years in EYFS, I've seen many changes to workload and the expectations that have been placed upon us. We are supporting vulnerable SEND children, teaching phonics, providing our own speech and language therapy, and are the first line of defence in keeping all children safe. Yet, despite this work, despite our qualifications, we are still unfairly underpaid. It's hardly a surprise that the wages are so poor in a female-dominated profession, and no wonder we are struggling to recruit and retain staff when you can go and work at Aldi for more money and with none of the responsibility. Congress, it's time for our profession to be treated with the respect we deserve. Too many parents and policymakers treat us like glorified babysitters. The parental responsibility needs to be addressed, as this makes our job harder, because we are teaching toothbrushing and potty training, and this is not just for SEND children. We need parents to be seriously engaged in their children's care and development plans, and not dropping them off and saying, "Is your problem now?" We don't want any more false promises. Deliver now, or there will be no one to deliver your sugar-coated ideas. Give us a voice. We need change. We have had enough. Stand with us. Congress, I move.
Well done, Hayley. Seconder.
Good morning, President, Congress. Sally Ryan from the great big wonderful North East Yorkshire and Humber region. Seconding motion 171. Like my colleague Hayley, I know the value of good quality early years provision. As a former special needs nursery nurse and then a family support and parenting officer, I spent my days fighting for the rights of children and their families. Because every penny we spend supporting the next generation is a penny spent building a better future, not just for the child, but for the wider community, because that's what early years provision is truly about. Staff working in early years children's services are delivering more than education. They are crucial to the family and community cohesion. Early years education is the foundation of lifelong success. It is a time for the government to recognise the invaluable contributions of support staff and ensure they are compensated. It is time to remove the stigma that they are glorified babysitters. These staff are educators, teachers and safeguarders of the children they support. It is time that they are valued, and they should be. Congress, let us now take action. Just remember, we take care of our own wherever this flag is flown. I second.
Thank you, Sally. Are there any delegates who wish to speak in opposition? No? Then can I ask Donna Spicer from the CC, please, to reply?
See, I got a round of applause from the General Secretary. I forgot to give my name over. Thanks, Gary. President, Congress, Donna Spicer speaking on behalf of the CEC and responding to motions 162, 163, 164 and 171. Excuse my voice because I've done a lot of cheering from my comrade there yesterday. The CEC supports with qualification motion 162. GMB welcomes the spirit of the motion, ensuring our reps stand up for our policies. We also agree our relationships with politicians must be paid back in turn. However, we do not seek to bind the hands of regions for setting local criteria, political nominations and endorsements. Congress must also be aware of electoral law concerning trade union sponsorship of elected representatives. While Congress is the supreme policy-making body of the Union and establishes important principles that we should hold, the motion goes beyond that with a singular criteria on backing political candidates, which may mean in practice a lack of full consideration of context. On motion 163, the CEC asked the region to refer. While we are sympathetic to the issue raised in the motion, the wording is factually incorrect, specifically more than 100% cheaper. Additionally, we would need to work with colleagues in other GMB sectors to assess any impact, such as aviation, before commencing any campaigns. On motion 164, the CEC supports with qualification. The NEU actions continue to be contrary to the TUC-NJC Unions Agreement of 2017, and despite long negotiations, a new agreement has not yet been reached. Our qualification is that affiliations and disaffiliations must be considered by the Finance and General Purposes Committee. I'm just going to come out of my role as CEC for a moment. I'm going to speak to you as National Schools Committee Chair on behalf of the almost 100,000 GMB support staff members, and I am going to aim this at you, Paul, as the TUC General Secretary. NEU are taking our members and they're lying to them, okay? They are telling them that they can support them in... They're telling them that they can support them when actually all they're doing is taking their money, and then when our members need support, they don't get that. You know, you're very aware of there's got no recognition on collective bargaining. Okay, so we really need to make sure that we are getting reps in schools to fight back. When we go in and we're meeting with support centres, we need to make it very, very clear that NEU is not for you. GMB is the one for me. We are the support staff union, not the NEU. Thank you, and I am just going to finish on this one. They're a charlatan union for support staff, okay, so we need to ensure that they must not keep recruiting. So please, Mr Novak, go and put your foot down on them and sort them out. Right, back with my CEC hat on now. Finally, on motion 171, the CEC also supports with qualification. Points 1 and 2 of the motion will be addressed within the school support staff negotiating body, and Hayley actually is sitting on that. She has her voice at the SSSMB meeting. So again, GMB are the only union at those negotiations who are giving our members a voice. So again, GMB is the one for me. So where am I? As early years support staff are part of the negotiating body where we will be discussing those points. Our qualification is in relation to point 3. We can make representations to the DFE via the Improving Education Together partnership, but we require more information as to what a national policy would contain and what the key development programmes are referred to in this motion. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Does London agree, accept the qualification on motion 162? Thank you. I'll just have it confirmed. I did hear you say it in your speech, but just have it confirmed. You accept you agree to refer on motion 163. Thank you. Do you accept the qualification on motion 164? Thank you. And North East Yorkshire, do you accept the qualification on motion 171? Thank you. I can put those to the vote. All those in favour of motion 162, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. All those in favour of motion 164, please show. Thank you. Any against? That's carried. And all those in favour of motion 171, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's also carried. Congress, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our next guest speaker, Paul Novak, General Secretary of the TUC. He's obviously been here listening. Donna's just spoken to him. So he did come to the CEC to talk when he was first newly elected. So it's very, we're very pleased that you've come to Congress to speak to us. Paul.
President, delegates, it is a huge honour to address GMB Congress for the first time as TUC General Secretary. 36 years ago, I joined this union, aged 17, when I started working for Asda. A few months later, with the support of my shop steward, a woman called Marilyn Clements, who's now sadly passed away, I became a health and safety rep. And I was incredibly proud to be a member of the union. My dad joined as a young welder, proud to be a GMB rep, and today, 3.5 decades later, I am still proud of the work that every GMB rep and activist does, that every union rep and activist does, winning and fighting for working people. So my first message to you today is this: ignore the commentators in the right-wing press, ignore the Tory politicians who attack the right to strike, ignore the cheerleaders for austerity in the right-wing think tanks. Instead, be proud of your members, proud of your union, proud of the difference you make every single day for working people in this country. Thank you, Congress, for everything you do. And on the subject of thanks, let me say this before I go any further. Thank you, Donna, for the words of advice before. Just to say we don't deal with inter-union issues at events like this, but the point is taken. I want to thank, though, the GMB's representatives on our General Council. Fazana Juma, who leads our Race Relations Committee so passionately and so effectively. Barbara Plant, your president, who has led this union with integrity through difficult times and who has been at the forefront of our international work in solidarity with workers from Gaza to Kyiv. And to Gary Smith, your General Secretary. Now, I'll be honest, I've known Gary for a few years. One thing I'd say is he's never shy in giving me advice, whether I've asked for it or not. But I do know this: whether it's oil and gas workers in the North Sea fighting for decent jobs and a genuine just transition, or manufacturing workers standing up for Britain's industrial base, or tens of thousands of GMB members working in security, in care homes, in schools, or in ASDA, they have a proper fighter in their corner in Gary Smith. So thank you, Gary, for everything you do. My intention, Congress, is to focus my remarks today on what's happening here in the UK. But before I do, let me just say a few words about Palestine. In April, I was in the West Bank, speaking at the conference of our sister union, the PGFTU. I also met Israeli trade unionists and peace campaigners, Palestinian workers, politicians, and human rights defenders. And I saw firsthand the appalling situation facing the Palestinian people in the West Bank, suffering under an illegal occupation. And of course, in Gaza, and we see it every day on our TV screens and in the papers, thousands of people killed in the latest Israeli onslaughts, supplies of aid, of medicine, of food deliberately cut off, aid workers, health workers, and starving civilians targeted and killed by the IDF. So today, just let me reiterate the TUC's long-standing calls: a new, immediate and permanent ceasefire, the release of all the hostages and Palestinian political prisoners, and respect for international law, including an end to all licenses for arms traded with Israel. Now, I applaud our government for suspending trade talks with Israel and sanctioning extremists in Netanyahu's government, but it must go further and immediately recognise the state of Palestine. That's how you go down the road, how you begin to go down the road towards a genuine two-state solution. A safe and secure Israel, yes, but a safe, secure and free Palestine as well. Congress, in Gaza, in Ukraine, in Sudan and here at home, there has never been more need for our values of solidarity, compassion and justice. And we stand in solidarity with those who take action in defence of those values. So today I want to send my support to GMB members who are taking action or have recently taken action in defence of those values. Workers at Brinks fighting for fair pay. Members at Devon County Council who saw off fire and rehire. School support staff in Tower Hamlets standing up for decent staffing levels, and all the others. And that includes the workers at Bidford fighting against derecognition. Union rights arbitrarily robbed off them by company bosses. Solidarity, comrades, to each and every one of you, because when you win, we all win. Solidarity. Now, last year was a momentous year. Labour elected with a massive majority. An employment rights bill delivered within the first 100 days into Parliament. And the minimum services level legislation, those anti-strike laws introduced by the Tories that we fought so hard to get rid of, defeated before those laws were ever used, thanks to the power of solidarity. But if 2024 was a year of change, 2025 has to be a year of delivery, a year when the government makes good its promises to working people. And the TUC has three key priorities for the next 12 months. Our first priority is making sure the government delivers the manifesto commitments which won it that huge majority last year. Now, we've made some progress. You heard from the Chancellor yesterday, resetting our relationship with the European Union, NHS waiting lists finally coming down, our railways coming back where they belong in public ownership, state support for British Steel, one of our most important foundation industries, and as you heard yesterday directly from the Chancellor, support for Sizewell and the future of nuclear in this country. That's all progress. I think it's fair to say they haven't got everything right, though, in the first year of this Labour government. I'm glad the government have listened on the winter fuel allowance, and I want ministers to also think again about their current plans to reform social security. Let me be clear, I want, and I think it's right, that we think about how we support people back into work. But nobody unable to work should be left out of pocket, and nobody in work at the moment or looking for work should see their benefits cut to balance the nation's books. When it comes to social security, we cannot and will not accept the most vulnerable being plunged further into poverty. Now, at lunchtime, the government will set out its spending review, and what happens today will shape what happens for years to come. The TUC has urged the Chancellor to stay the course, to fix the UK's economic foundations, to break the cycle of low growth, low productivity and low wages. That means investing in public services and fair pay for all public sector workers. It means delivering a real industrial strategy, sustaining and creating good unionised jobs in every part of the country. To do that, though, we need to cut punitive energy costs for UK industry. Congress, jobs are on the line because we pay more for our electricity than our global competitors. How can it be right that a British manufacturer pays 4 times more than an American manufacturer for energy, or 50% more than a French manufacturer? That isn't sensible economics, and it means British companies and British workers are being asked to compete with one arm tied behind their back. It threatens jobs, industry and growth, and the cost of inaction is far greater than any cost of support. Without intervention, this Congress knows firms will be pushed to the brink, and once they're gone, they can't come back. As you know better than me, last month, Moorcroft went out of business after more than 100 years of trading, and in February, Royal Stafford went into liquidation. Famous names and good jobs lost forever. So today, I urge ministers in our Labour government, do the right thing, take action on energy costs and make sure the new industrial strategy gives British industry and British manufacturers the level playing field we deserve. When energy costs are competitive, we can compete. British industry, skilled workers, has huge potential. Just a few weeks ago, I met GMB reps and members at Sellafield, helping process and store Europe's largest stockpile of nuclear waste. Good quality jobs, skilled workers, essential to our national security and underpinning our nuclear industry. The next day, I went down the coast and met GMB members and reps at BAE Systems in Barrow, building that next generation of nuclear submarines, securing high-quality apprenticeships in marine engineering and showing how manufacturing is fundamental to both our national prosperity and our national security. Sellafield and Barrow are just 2 examples we can all learn from. Examples that prove we can and must build a new type of economy, one where we do invest in the industries of the future, one where we measure success by workers' living standards, not just GDP, and one, frankly, Congress, where we expect those at the top to pay their fair share. Congress, it is well overdue. It is time to tax the wealthy and not just working people in this country. Second priority is ensuring that we get the full-strength employment rights bill that we've been promised, the biggest upgrade to workers' rights in a generation, an end to exploitative zero-hours contracts, a ban on fire and rehire, day one employment rights, and crucially, levelling the playing field for trade unions. For the first time in my 30-odd years of trade union activism, a government repealing anti-trade union legislation, the Strikes Act and that 2016 Trade Union Act. Delivering new rights for unions to access the workplace, stamping out union busting. So never again does a government stand by like the Tories stood by, while the likes of Amazon deploy every cynical trick they can in the book to deserve workers getting an independent union voice. And on that point, and let me just say, with new union rights coming on stream, I want to say this. Amazon can run, but they cannot hide from this union or the trade union movement. Last year's recognition vote was not the end, it was just the beginning. And so to every exploitative, tax-avoiding, union-busting employer like Amazon, my message is this. Our movement is coming for you. Our movement is going to organise you, and our movement is going to win. One final word about the Employment Rights Bill. That is an incredibly important piece of legislation, and laws are important. But Congress, all the laws in the world mean nothing if we're not organising strong unions to win for workers. So we need to make sure we use that legislation to recruit the next generation of members and reps, to build the diverse and inclusive and representative movement we need, and to rebuild our collective strength. A stronger GMB, a stronger TUC, a stronger trade union movement that fights and wins for all working people. Third and final priority from me is simply this. We all have a collective responsibility in this room and beyond to play our part in tackling the rise of the far right and the populist right in our workplaces, in our communities, at the ballot box and on the street. Last summer we saw those riots, men being dragged out the car by a lynch mob, racist thugs attacking mosques, attacking hotels housing asylum seekers, and the leaders of reform literally kindling the fires with conspiracy theories and innuendo. It is down to our movement, each and every one of us, to show that reform is no friend of working people. We need to highlight the hypocrisy of politicians who say they stand up for workers and then vote against women, outsourced workers getting sick pay from day one, who say they want to save the NHS and we know would sell the NHS in a heartbeat for a US private-style insurance system, and who say they believe in a strong and sovereign Britain and are basically stooges for Trump and for Putin. So today, let the message go out loud and clear from this Congress. Reform do not, never have, and never will speak for working people. That's our job, Congress. That's our job. Tackling the far right, delivering the Employment Rights Bill in full, rebuilding Britain. Those are our priorities at the TUC for the year ahead. And I am hopeful. After 14 long years, real change is finally within our grasps. Better jobs and wages, a fairer, stronger economy, investment in our public services. Together, we can defeat the far right. Together, we can build a thriving trade union movement. And together, we can win for your members, but win for workers everywhere. Solidarity, Congress. Thank you. Thanks, Congress. Thank you.
I've got a smile. I've been told I'm smiling. Smiler, look at that. Smiler, how's that? Happy. Just got turned over in the finance debate. Happy.
Thank you, Paul, for that speech, for attending, and yeah, all the best. Cheers. Can we have movers and seconders of motions 173, 174 and 183 to the front, please? Sorry? Movers and seconders of 173, 174, 183. Mover of 173.
President, General Secretary, Congress. I'm speaking this morning to move motion 173, support for leisure services. My name is Dave Loftus from the big and beautiful region of the North East, Yorkshire and the Humber. I'm a first-time delegate and first-time speaker. Thank you. I stand in front of Congress to ask for your support and recognition of the role sport and leisure facilities play in the lives of many people, the length and breadth of the country. I speak on behalf of our members of All Culture and Leisure, a team that plays a vital role in the health, happiness and well-being of our community. From the front of house, cleaners, catering staff, fitness instructors, receptionists, leisure assistants to team leaders. We're talking about members providing safe spaces for families to enjoy, places where young people can grow in confidence and opportunities for individuals of all ages to improve their health. Building friendships, simply feel part of something. And all of our members bring energy and professionalism and are keen to welcome everyone while supporting those who may be in need of extra help. In a time when health and well-being have never been more important, leisure services are not a luxury, they are essential. Unfortunately, this is also a time when pay and terms and conditions in local authorities are under attack. As many of you will be aware, the pay offer for local government workers this year is a derisory 3.2%, which does not address the relative decline in wages over recent years. In addition to this, our senior management team are attempting to effectively extend our working week by 2.5 hours by removing paid lunch breaks from our staff, while at the same time, some managerial staff are still not required to follow suit. On behalf of our members, our team of GMB reps are strongly resisting this, as this is clearly discriminating against the lowest paid staff. We have campaigned strongly against this. Our members have been mobilised and joined us to lobby our local councillors, and in a district ballot held recently came out unanimously in favour of further action as our next step, if our next step is not resolved. Politically, these are worrying times in our region. Although not yet as present on our whole city council, Hull and East Yorkshire have voted in a reform candidate as our regional mayor, and should they gain a further foothold in our area, then it is clear we'll have many battles to come. Despite that, we are optimistic that if we continue to stand shoulder to shoulder and fight for what we believe in as a union, then we can achieve the things our members deserve. Please support our leisure services and support this motion. Congress, I move motion 173. Thank you.
Well done, Dave. Well done. Seconder, please.
President, General Secretary, Congress. My name is Neil Payne. I'm from the North East, Yorkshire and the Humber region, and I'm speaking this morning to second Congress motion 173. I'm also a first-time delegate, first-time speaker. Like my colleague moving this motion, I'm employed by an arm's-length company wholly owned by my local council in my home city of Kingston upon Hull, which runs our sport and leisure facilities. The fallout of years of austerity politics has resulted in ever tighter budgets and increased the pressure on our ability to deliver affordable leisure services. This financial pressure has led to the charges for our sessions increasing by 9% this year, putting further strain on the finances of our customers at a time when concerns about people's physical and mental health mean that we should be aiming to increase accessibility to well-funded, high-quality leisure facilities. At the same time, paying working conditions of staff have been steadily eroded to the point where we are becoming ever closer to being caught up by the minimum wage. We therefore strongly support our local government pay negotiating team in their efforts to secure a plan to work towards a minimum hourly rate of £15. So for the benefit of both the public using our services and the staff working in this sector, we believe it's time to support our leisure facilities, to keep our prices affordable, to continue to be accessible to our users, crucially to ensure that all our staff, our GMB members in the workplace, are treated with respect and paid appropriately for the work that they are doing. Congress, I second this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Mover of motion 174.
Good morning, President, Congress. Hayley Doyle again from the Great Big North East Yorkshire and Humber region. Motion 174, funding for schools to be fully supportive of all children. In Leeds GMB, we are incredibly proud of the campaign we have been running on SEND funding, staff development and child-centred provision. And we are still continuing to fight on these issues, and we don't want to be back here next year with the same motion. But we will keep coming back if that's what it takes. We will not be silent. Because despite the empty words from politicians of every party, the reality on the ground is grim. We're overworked, overstretched and dropping like flies. Too often, the funding that is tied to meet the needs of an individual child is instead being spent on the general school pot. The parents need financial transparency so they know where their child's money is going to be spent, because it needs to be spent on them. We have seen cases of children being allocated the highest level of funding, yet receiving no one-to-one support and no focused resources. All they receive is a pair of ear defenders to block out background noise and a fidget toy. How is this meeting their needs? This is a complete disgrace. Stop failing our children. The appalling levels of funding for SEND provision is letting down children, families, staff and the country. Too many times, local authorities and politicians provide lukewarm words about how vital SEND provision is, then turn the other way when it comes to putting the money where the mouth is. In Leeds, we are not going to back down. In an already underpaid role, support staff are being further fobbed off by being expected to work at a level that is not reflected in their pay or job description. We're in a cost of living crisis, for goodness sake. It's not acceptable. Rachel Reeves proudly stated that disabled people want to work, but they also want educating. We need the correct pay, correct training and the correct financial support for schools and nurseries. To enable this to happen, we need to ensure that each child has a funded package that works for them and every family is supported. Congress, this is a justice issue. I hope you will support the motion. I move.
Well done, Hayley. Seconder.
Back again. Good morning, President, Congress. Sally Ryan, the great big and wonderful North East Yorkshire and Humber region. Secondly, motion 174. There is so much I could say about SEND provision and the fundamental changes that are needed to deliver for those young people. But as I've only got 2 minutes rather than 2 weeks, I've had to focus it down. Firstly, we must demand that SEND funding is ring-fenced to the child it is being allocated to. We must end the disgrace of funding being used to top up the general school funding pot. What leads straight to the core issue is how can it be that schools are having to use money that is supposed to be spent on making sure children can access the education they deserve, is instead being spent on toilet rolls and sugar paper. When schools need to make cuts, what goes first? The support staff. The staff that support our SEND children. Those staff left have to sometimes support 2 and 3 SEND children. who actually have one-to-one funding. This has to stop. Last year, we heard a lot from politicians about change. I voted for that change, and now I want it to actually see it. This Labour government must back our schools. They must put the money into our broken education system, a system that has had 14 years of Tory cuts. And then they must fund SEND provision properly. A child's funding needs to go to their education, and we must not back down until they do. I second.
Well done, Sally. Thank you. Mover of motion 183, please.
Good morning, Madam President, Congress. I'm Helena Pilcher and I'm from the super southern region. I'm a first-time delegate and a first-time speaker. I'm promoting motion 183, Fat Cat Academy head teachers, Fat Cat salaries should be capped. Congress. I rise today with a heavy heart but fire in my voice. Across our schools, the very people who form the backbone of our children's education, the support staff, are being treated as disposable. These are the individuals who nurture, guide and support our children every single day. Yet, they are the lowest paid and the first to be made redundant when budgets are tight. This is absolutely appalling. Let me tell you of a case that I've been made aware of. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah was a teaching assistant at a local primary school. She worked with children with special educational needs. She often stayed late to prepare materials. She comforted anxious pupils and helped them find their voice in a system that only too often overlooks them. She wasn't in this for the money because there wasn't much. She was in it for the children. When the school faced budget cuts, Sarah was let go. Not because she wasn't doing her job properly, she was indeed exceptional, but because she was the easiest to cut. Meanwhile, the CEO of the Academy Trust, who had never once visited the school, continued to take home their six-figure salary. That CEO didn't know the names of the children Sarah worked with, didn't see the tears she wiped away, didn't see the laughter she helped create or the efforts above and beyond her job description which she carried out every day. Congress, this is unjust, unfair, and it's a disgrace. When school budgets are slashed, it should not be the teaching assistants, the caretakers, the admin staff, or the SEN support workers who pay the price. These are the people who make learning possible. Without them, our education system would collapse. These are the staff working at the coalface in education, working with the more challenging behaviour, with the children who have highly complex needs, more mental health needs and a much higher SEN numbers. We believe that no CEO should be allowed to line their pockets while children go without resources, while classrooms go without support, and while staff like Sarah get shown the door. Their bloated salaries could fund additional SEN support, more classroom assistants or vital mental health services for our pupils. Instead, it goes into the pockets of the fat cat bosses. Congress, we must demand transparency. We must demand accountability. And we must demand that the people who do the real work in our schools are paid fairly and protected from the axe when times get tough. Support staff feel exploited. The physical and emotional work they invest in their students is certainly not reflected in their salaries, and unfortunately, all their efforts, dedication, goodwill and loyalty do not pay the bills. They must be paid their worth. They need recognition in their pay packets for the essential and valuable work that they do. It should not be in the pockets of fat cats who are running our schools and academy. I move this motion.
Well done, Helena. Thank you. Seconder.
Thank you. President Congress, I rise to second this motion 183. Fat Cat Academy head teachers' Fat Cat salaries should be capped. I'm a first-time delegate, first-time speaker. And I'm also severely dyslexic. So there's hope for all you dyslexics out there, if I can do this. My colleague has so eloquently said that it's time that Fat Cat salaries and head teacher salaries were capped. I'm a school convener, and I am seeing redundancies in TAs on the rise as school budgets are squeezed. This is a shocking turn of events. TAs and support staff are the lifeblood of our schools, but the lowest paid. They have often to deal with being sworn at, spat at, and threatened with violence. Those in their ivory towers on their fat cat wages do not see the challenging behaviours that are dealt with. And we have to let the cat out of the bag. The only fat cat I want to see is this one. Let's not just make work better, let's make work fairer for all. Please support motion 183. Thank you.
Well done, Lynn. Well done. Well done. Anyone wish to speak in opposition to any of those motions? No? Then I ask CEC Speaker Tracy Ashton to respond, please.
Well done. President Congress, Tracy Ashton speaking on behalf of the CEC and responding to motion 174. The CEC supports this motion with a qualification. On point 1, we now have a national schools website. However, we do require support from regions and activists to provide content. On point 2, this is existing policy. We have current live funding campaign and have written to the Secretary of State for Education and the SOS for local government. And both responses are on the school's notice board. Congress, please support motion 174 with the qualifications set out. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Does North East Yorkshire and Humber accept the qualification? Yes? Thank you. I'll put those to the vote. All those in favour of motion 173, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. Motion 174, all those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. And motion 183, all those in favour, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? That's carried. We now move to 2 emergency motions. So emergency motion 4, stop changes to PIP, I'll take first, and then emergency motion 7, if you could be ready to come down as well. So the mover and seconder of emergency motion 4, please.
President Congress, I'm not being awkward this morning. I've got severe eczema and it's got to my feet, especially having to walk miles to the lift in this venue. Jonathan Coles, London Region, Secretary of London Ability Self-Organised Group, moving this very important emergency motion on stopping the PIP changes. Last September, I attended TUC Congress here in this very hall, where I spoke in the debate on the motion on PIP. I explained the faults with the assessment process, which really needs to be overhauled. In March, many of you, I'm sure, were shocked to hear the Spring Statement announce significant changes to the eligibility criteria. The changes are disproportionate to whatever aim the government had, legitimate or not. The result will result in thousands losing this vital benefit. This is discriminatory and a breach of the Equality Act. People with disabilities are being targeted by an agenda of an obsession by successive governments with getting people into work. People with disabilities face a lot of barriers to getting to work if their bodies and minds allow them to do so. And you can still get PIP and work. For those of you who don't know, PIP has two parts: care, which is called daily living now, and mobility. You need to score 8 points for the standard rate and 12 for the enhanced rate for both. And it comes from scoring points in a number of sections. Daily living, there are 10, and you get scored from 0 to a maximum between 6 and 12 for each section. Whether you can do something unaided to being completely unable to do something. There are two sections for mobility: moving around and planning a journey. And generally for mobility, you need to walk less than 50 metres or 20 metres for the highest rate. If you can't prove that you cannot plan a journey, and that's difficult to score. For most people, they'll score 2 points from a number of sections, because they may not be able to undertake an activity because of a physical or mental health. Some of the sections often go together, like washing, cooking, dressing and undressing, and even toileting. For instance, you may not be able to bend or stretch or cut or lift. You may be so depressed that you need prompting to do things like cook or dress or wash, or have problems communicating and managing budgets. Quite often, you'll be scored 2 points for the number of sections, as you need to use aids. It takes a lot longer or needs someone's help. You can get 4 points for usually needing someone to supervise you or help you do something like wash or cook for you. The government is proposing to change the criteria so that you have to score at least 4 points in one section. That won't make much difference for the mobility, but for daily living, it will have a massive impact. In reality, if you qualify for 4 points for a section, you're more likely to score 12 points in total. What it does do is make it difficult for people who have a lot of needs but manage with a small amount of help and lose this vital £73.90 at the moment per week for the daily standard living rate. The government is also proposing reducing the extra money for people currently unable to work or have limited capacity to work. This will renege on a promise, and indeed a court decision, that people will not be worse off when they're transferred from other benefits to universal credit. Now, there's some facts. The estimated effect is 3.2 million families losing an average of £3,000 a year. 370,000 claimants will lose out once the changes take effect at their next review. 430,000 future claimants will lose out on £4,500 a year, which they would have been receiving now had they been claiming now. 2.24 million people will lose their top-up for universal credit, and 730,000 would be 3,000 worse off than people who are currently claiming. And these figures are from the Department of Work and Pensions, who also state that other changes would give 3.8 million families £420 a year. Huge difference in those gaining and those losing. Well, that's all right then. If you have disability and make a claim in future, it's really worth losing £3,000 so those who are not disabled can gain an extra £420. I'm sure you'd all agree that these changes are discriminatory and are targeting the most in need. You can imagine the anger of those potentially affected and the anxiety and potential damage to their health. The extra work for the Department of Work and Pensions handling appeals for organisations who help those who work in welfare benefits for local authorities, such as I do, or charities like the CAB. Our region has already written to our MPs and voiced our anger. I trust now that other regions have followed suit or are in the process of doing so. But we need campaigning at all levels against these cuts. I trust you will support and join the campaign. I move. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. Seconder.
President, Congress, Anne Weeks, London Region, seconding motion, this emergency motion. I am the chair of the London Region Disability Self-Organised Group. So I am coming and I'm talking directly to you and I'm talking directly to this table here. So the first thing that I need to say to you, I'm not going to go through all the statistics. 80% of people have acquired disabilities. So if you don't have one now, it's coming. Temporarily or permanently, you will at some point in your life get a disability. PIP affects everyone. Some in here or already on it. And you may be in a vulnerable position because you may lose it, because you will no longer meet the criteria. It's not a fight for our members, so let's stop talking outwardly and start talking inwardly. It's a fight for yourselves, and it's also a fight for everyone. PIP is paid by taxpayers' money, our money. So why are we allowing the government to dictate what our taxes are spent on? And the regions, please, you need to support your SOGs. You need to support the disability groups. Help us in our campaigning and our organising. Also, encourage the branches to participate in any of the activities that we put on or that we do, and we work together as a collective. Now I speak to the CEC very quickly and very directly. And I love you all, I'm respectful, but I'm talking to the President, I'm talking to the outgoing, and I'm talking to the incoming Vice Chair. Disability has no hierarchy. Even the King of England has a disability. He has cancer. So, Congress, you need to step up on your reasonable adjustments in this Congress room. Okay, right now we have people who are out there who have cancer, who have back problems, who have issues, and you're sitting comfortably on very comfortable chairs right now, while there are people out there who are sitting on hard chairs. We need to address this. We need to address this. There is also no need for you to be dragging up people with disabilities up to the front. We need to change this to roaming mics. We can find a way where you can get them up onto the screen, but you can still hear what they have to say. Give them a roaming mic so they don't have to keep coming up here all the time. Furthermore, when you are dealing with how you communicate when we're doing with the information that's put out, recognize that there are dyslexic people in here. There are people who have learning difficulties, people who can't read and understand the information that you're sharing. Most of all, we need to see more representatives on the CEC who are disabled. Do not have them up there as a tick box exercise. Okay, but if you ask them to be a part of the CEC and to be up there, be there to support them and to help them to fully be informed. This is not a tick box exercise. If you want disabled people and equality in the CEC, ensure that the people you have there are being fully supported to participate, to be informed, to be involved, and to be able to give a voice to the disabled members across the whole of GMB. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. I've made a note of all the points you've made, but also people, please put it back on your feedback form. That's where we will learn what people's requirements are. All the points well made. The CC, well, anybody want to speak in opposition? I'm not imagining there would be, but all those, the CC are supporting this motion, emergency motion. So all those in favour of emergency motion 4, please show. Thank you. Anyone against? No, unanimously carried. Can I have this mover and speaker of emergency, seconder of emergency motion 7, please?
President, Congress, Gillian McFarlane, GMB Scotland, moving Emergency Motion 7, access to free period products at all GMB events. Congress, how many of us here this week have noticed that there has been no provision of free period products in the bathrooms at this venue or even a vending machine? This is a basic human necessity which helps us to maintain dignity and provide access to these products for those who simply find them unaffordable. There are people who unfortunately struggle to know their full menstrual cycle and can't prepare in advance. This can be for numerous reasons, including women's health conditions, meaning that it might be an emergency in which a product is needed. I found myself in this situation when I was much younger and felt so self-conscious as I could not just go and find any products. If there are machines in venues, these are normally more expensive than in supermarkets. And as we don't always have cash nowadays, due to being in cashless venues, it means that those in need can't access them quickly enough. Although yes, it is possible to ask fellow delegates to spare a product or to go to an information desk, there is still a stigma of having to admit that one has been caught out. It can be extremely embarrassing for women who have to look for help and how to access it when it occurs. Scotland became the first country in the world to make period products free for all by providing free period products by law via local authorities and education providers since 2022, after the passing of the Period Products Free Provision Act. In the Kingdom of Fife, all council buildings have free period products in every staff bathroom, so whoever needs them can get access. We feel that this free provision should be the case across all of the UK, and every organisation has a responsibility to look at how they can give access for those in need. We ask the CEC to bring forward a policy which would aim to provide free period products in all future GMB Congress venue bathrooms and strive to provide provisions in any building holding a GMB event where possible, or at least the provision of vending machines where this is priced affordably. Congress, please support this motion. I move.
Thank you, Gillian. And seconder, please.
President, Congress, Elizabeth Aarons, GMB Scotland, second emergency motion number 7. Congress, this is a very important issue and we need GMB, our great union, to support and change policy. Are we saying in 2025 we stay in the dark ages where toilet tissue is the only option available in venues for our female members caught short without any period products? I think not. Although we acknowledge that their products are now available, it is not acceptable that they have to go to another part of the building. Please, please support this motion. I move. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Anyone wants to speak in opposition? No? Can I then ask Linda Carr-Pollock to speak on behalf of the CEC, please?
President, Congress, Linda Carr-Pollock, responding on behalf of the CEC to Emergency Motion 7. Access to free period products at all GMB events. The CEC is supporting this motion, which is a logical extension to our existing policy calling for the provision of free period products in workplaces and educational establishments. We also wish to note with thanks to GMB Scotland that upon raising with the Standing Orders Committee that the venue for this Congress did not have free period product provision, we immediately arranged for some to be available. Our small qualification to the motion is that while GMB can work with our future Congress venue providers to ensure appropriate provision of free period products, the motion's call for all GMB events to have this provision may be impractical in some cases. This is, for example, GMB branch meetings, which are held for a short amount of time within the working day or evening and held locally to the members who are in the branch. GMB events in a local authority-run venue in Scotland will benefit from public bodies already being required by law to provide free period products, which the CEC agrees should be adopted across the rest of the UK. Therefore, the CEC is asking Congress to support Emergency Motion 7 with the small qualifications set out. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Does GMB Scotland agree to the qualification? Thank you. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour of Emergency Motion 7, please show. Anyone against? That's carried. Thank you. We will now take rule amendments as one block, all from Southern Region. So could the movers and seconders for Rule Amendment 315, 316, 317 come to the front, please? We understand that Rule Amendments 298, 299 and 323 have been withdrawn and the SOC have been notified. So could I just have the mover of 315, please?
President, Congress, Charles Ajay, Regional President, Southern Region. Speaking on Rule Amendments 315, 316, and 317. Following discussions with the General Secretary, he is giving assurances that will be involved in the review of all the appointment processes in relation to our rule amendments. So with this assurance by the General Secretary, the region will gladly withdraw rule amendments 315, 316, and 317. Thank you, Congress.
Thank you, Charles. In that case, I can move on to, can I invite Jan Smith to rostrum to address Congress with a report of the RMA for 2024 to 2025. It's been a year of great activity for the RMA, as I'm sure we're all just about to hear. Thank you, Jan.
It's nearly afternoon, colleagues, and I'm pleased to say that I haven't been sent to Eastbourne. I'm glad to be here with you. Before I start, I would like, if he hasn't already come up here, Steve Short to work his way towards the front, please, because I will need him.
I'm not sure if he's in the room, Jan, because he works behind the scenes.
He was told to be here for the end of the morning session. So if we can get a message to him.
I think it's because we're running early. It might be because we're running early. He might think that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Anyhow, President, Congress, friends, colleagues, Jan Smith, National Retired Members Secretary. Colleagues, it gives me great pleasure to give you our report. But woo-wee, just where do I start? So much has happened since last year. Well, here goes. On behalf of Margie Clark, Layla Kassam and myself, we give our sincere thanks for our national RM banner being part of the opening ceremony. Colleagues, we made history by the very, very first time we didn't have to apply or appeal for that to take part. We are truly grateful and may it continue. Last year, I mentioned we would be seeking a meeting due to problems that we had within the National RMA with our General Secretary, Gary, on finding ways forward, on how we go forward. We did have that meeting and it took place in January. Hence, the motions that were overwhelmingly carried on Sunday. Another history day for us, after many years of trying and being given one excuse after another. Now, colleagues, we have that voice. We need to make sure it takes place as our fight continues for the recognition that we truly deserve. Colleagues, some of our committee members have now retired, and we give thanks to Derek Baker, MEB, for the many years as our president. Thanks also go to Brian Adams, who was our treasurer, to Roger Bolston, vice president, and helped on the Congress stall each year. He has retired through ill health. And I ask you all with me to wish them very good wishes for the future. Thanking them for their valued input over the years. We have welcomed Vaughan West as our new national coordinator. Vaughan, I can tell you, had a very rough ride in the beginning, but we're now working comfortably with him. So thank you, Vaughan, for what you're doing on our behalf. In October last year, we held a successful conference. And I can tell you there will be another conference this year on October the 21st at Mary Turner House. But regions, please note, and to your regional coordinators, motions, names of delegates and visitors need to be sent to myself or Pat Gannon, National Officer, no later than the 1st of August. Anything after that date will be disallowed. Colleagues, I convey sincere thanks to Pat Gannon, who is a star, and nothing is untiring to her in her help. To John Stevenson and Leela Kassam, who is running our stall this year, thank you for all that you're doing down there. And so far this morning, I was told we've made just over £700. Howsoever, there is still one brown envelope, I understand, to be handed back. If it can go back to the stall, I'd appreciate it, because that region's money is valuable to us. I would like to give thanks to my own region, being Warren, Amita, Ida, Penny, and all my London region friends and colleagues. Many, many thanks to you all. Your help and support is very much appreciated. And this is where I asked Steve if he could be present. But as he's not here, I will come back to that part. Finally, in doing so, colleagues, sadly, I have to report our honorary president, Monica Smith, has passed away. She was called to heaven on April the 24th, aged 94 years of old. Monica was a stalwart not only of the GMB, she helped and found the RMA. And Monica, you are sadly missed. May you, with our heavenly colleagues, rest in peace. God bless your souls. Going back to Steve, I was going to present to him, which I'm sure Gary will pass on to him, and if you will set them on behalf of Steve's behalf, please. We give our thanks to you for over the years, the help and support, and also seeking that we got our RMN banner. And also thanks to you, Barbara, in doing so and your continued support. We fully appreciate that, and we wish you a very happy, healthy retirement, Steve. Thank you. Colleagues, It has given me great pleasure in giving you this report. I sincerely thank you for listening. I won't go into the detail of the pros and cons of the heartache and the fights that we've had over the year, because it's not necessary. We are working together. We continue hoping to work together with the GMB. We have got our voice, and as I've said, we need now to fight together for the recognition we deserve. So colleagues, thank you for listening. Safe journey home tomorrow as I commend this report to you. Gary's just asked me if I know my way to Eastbourne, so I'm now on.
Thanks, Jen, for that report, and we will make sure that Steve gets that from you. Congress, we now watch a solidarity video from today for the end of today's business from Ivana Krapko, Youth Council Chair for the FPU Trade Union in Ukraine. We warmly welcomed her in our trade union sister Ivana when she addressed Congress 2023 when we were last in Brighton. So, video, please.
Dear brothers and sisters, delegates of GMB Congress. My name is Ivana. I am the chair of the Youth Council of Federation of Trade Unions of Ukraine. For me, it's a very big honor today to address you, such a strong and united trade union GMB family, on behalf of Ukrainian workers and Ukrainian trade union activists. Today, I speak to you from the heart of Ukraine, from the heart of Kyiv. This is Independence Square. For us, it's a very special place because during Revolution of Dignity in 2014, here Ukrainians made a choice in favor of European values, human rights, dignity, and freedom. But today, freedom is under threat. During last 3 years, Ukrainians have been living in condition of war, launched by Russia on the 21st of February 2022. And I want to show you next special place for us. Here you can see a lot of flags. In 2022, when full-scale invasion started, here appeared a very small piece of paper with such a painful word: if you had lost someone, place a flag. And now entire alley emerged here, and this is place of sacrifice and resilience. This is a price which we pay every single day for the right to live freely. But colleague, I want to assure you that we stay strong and we continue our fight in all of fronts, and especially in labor front. And now I want to show you our trade union building. This is our headquarters where all of my colleagues, our trade unions, every single day working for protect working rights, for making working conditions better even in wartime. Here, an idea born. Here we have our seminar, webinar. Here we have a meeting with our trade union activists. And I clearly remember when the GMB delegation visited us here in Kyiv, and colleagues, I want to say you many thanks, comrades. Because for us, your solidarity means a lot, and that visit was for us very powerful sign. Because even now, when we are see all of your support, when we see, for example, some pictures from March from the UK, where you trade unionists, British trade unionists, hold banners with "Stay with Ukraine." For us, it means that there are no distance between us. Colleague, Today, in the day of your Congress, I want to wish you to have a very strong decision for your members. And also, I want to say that unity is strength. This is strength for making working conditions better and for making our democracy stronger. Sending you the warmest hugs and unwavering solidarity from Kyiv.
Solidarity actually is my favourite word, and I think all these videos we've seen this week from international trade unions just goes to show how important it is, as I've said before. And it's a verb, really, solidarity. It's about what we do and how we come together and act together and take support and take action. So we've got some, I think we've got, looking forward to the International Day tomorrow at Congress. Congress, this is the end of the morning's business, so we finished early. You've got an extra long lunch hour. This afternoon, though, we will come back at 2 o'clock for an equal pay demonstration, both inside and outside of the hall. And then we'll start, we'll start at 2 o'clock with a pre-rally back in the hall. So you've got lots of time to go to all the stalls and go to a fringe and enjoy your lunchtime. Thank you.